Hey guys, welcome to section 4.2, which is going to be our last section before we have our quiz. Today we're just going to be adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials, which should seem very familiar to you once we get going. So our first learning target is I can add and subtract polynomials. Our first example is find the sum of the polynomials, express answers in standard form. So obviously we know that when we're finding the sum, we are adding. So when we're adding polynomials, really we're just combining like terms. So you can think of that. Well, combine. But we do want our answer in standard form, so I would suggest starting by putting the polynomials in standard form if they are not already. Okay, so my first one, 4x squared minus x cubed plus 1 plus 5x to the fourth, I'm going to write as 5x to the fourth minus x cubed plus 4x squared. I'm going to leave just a little space because I don't have an x term, and then I'm going to put plus 1, just in case I have an x term on my other polynomial. So my next one, which I'm going to put in standard form, but align it under the other one. So I'm going to say align like terms. The highest exponent in my second polynomial is the fourth power, so I'm going to put that under 5x to the fourth. Then I have 6x squared, so I'm going to put that under the 4x squared. Then I have negative x, which actually, it's a good thing I left that spot there because I don't have an x term in my other polynomial. So now I'm just going to add these vertically since I already aligned the like terms. So I have 5x to the fourth plus 3x to the fourth is 8x to the fourth. Then I can just bring down my negative x cubed. 4x squared plus 6x squared is 10x squared. Then I just have minus x plus 1, and that is the sum. So let me just put the last step there. We add. Okay, let's do letter B. My first polynomial, 10x minus 18x cubed plus 6x to the fourth minus 2. So I'm going to start with 6x to the fourth minus 18x cubed. I don't have a squared term, but I have plus 10x, and then I have minus 2. My second polynomial, negative 7x to the fourth plus 5 plus x plus 2x cubed. I'm going to put the negative 7x to the fourth below my other fourth degree term. Then I'm going to put plus 2x cubed under my other cube term. Then, so I got that one, that one. Then I have plus x. That's going to go under my other x term, and then minus 2. And by that, I'm at plus 5. Excuse me. Thinking about that. That's 5. Plus 5. There we go. All right, now I'm just going to combine like terms. 6x to the fourth minus 7x to the fourth is just a negative x to the fourth. Negative 18x cubed plus 2x cubed would be negative 16x cubed. And then I don't have a squared term, but 10x plus x is 11x. And then negative 2 plus 5 is positive 3. So that is adding. Example 2. Find the difference of the polynomials, express answers in standard form. Of course, difference means subtraction. So when we subtract, it's basically the same thing as adding. However, we need to begin by distributing the negative sign into the polynomial that's being subtracted. And then after that, add like above. Okay, so right here, I'm going to distribute this negative sign into every term, because every term is being subtracted. So that's negative 6x squared plus 9x minus 3 plus 18x cubed. Okay, I'm going to write this first polynomial in standard form. 12x cubed minus 8x squared plus 5x plus 19. And then now that I distribute that negative, I have changed this to an addition problem. Okay, so I've already taken care of the negative sign. So I'm going to put my negative 6x squared under my negative 8x squared. And then my positive 9x, I have minus 3. Oh, that 18x cubed, that needs to go up front. There we go. And now we can add 12x cubed plus 18x cubed is 30x cubed. Negative 8x squared minus 6x squared is negative 14x squared. And then I have plus 14x. And then I have plus 16. All right, last subtraction problem. I distribute my negative into my second polynomial since I am subtracting it. So that'd be negative 9 minus 2x squared minus 10x to the fifth. And I'm going to write my first polynomial in standard form, 5x to the fifth. I don't have a fourth degree term, but then I have plus 8x cubed minus 4x squared. I don't have a constant term, but then I have 19. And so I'm going to put my other terms from my other polynomial under the like terms. Negative 9 goes here, negative 2x squared goes here, and negative 10x to the fifth goes here. Combining these, I get negative 5x to the fifth. No fourth degree term, but I have 8x cubed. Negative 4x squared minus 2x squared, negative 6x squared. And then I don't have any x terms, then I just have 19 minus 9, so that would be 10. And that is subtraction. Okay, moving on to multiplying. Here we go. When we put polynomials in standard form, we multiply them so that no parentheses remain. We also call this expanding. So if you ever see a problem that says expand, that means multiply it out so that no parentheses remain. One thing we need to remember when we're multiplying polynomials is the product rule for exponents. So when I take terms with the same base, for instance here, x and x, I have x to the a times x to the b. I can write that as x to the a plus b. So we add the exponents. All right, so this should be familiar. I'm going to go rather quickly. First, let's multiply two monomials. If you have monomials, remember those are just single terms. You can multiply the coefficients together. So I have 5x times 6x cubed. So I can take 5 times 6, and that's 30. And then if I take x to the first times x cubed, that would be x to the fourth, adding those exponents. Letter B, I have 3 monomials. So I'm going to take 2 times negative 3. That's a negative 1 there. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 times the negative 1 is positive 6. And then I'm going to take x, this is x to the first, times x squared, times x to the fourth. So I add 1 plus 2, which is 3, plus 4, which is 7. So that's 6x to the 7th. So that's monomials. Now we're going to multiply polynomials. Remember, polynomials have to just have at least 2 terms. So it says when at least one of the polynomials being multiplied has 2 or more terms. Well, I mean, a poly, other than a monomial, has 2 or more terms, we need to use the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute 2 plus 3x times 1 plus x. Just because I know I'm going to want my answer in standard form, I'm going to write these in standard form first. I'm going to write 3x plus 2 times x plus 1. And so I'm going to have 3x times x, 3x squared, 3x times 1, 3x, 2 times x, 2x, and 2 times 1 is 2. And combine your like terms. 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. Moving on to B, I'm multiplying a binomial times a trinomial, but I also want to put these in standard form. X plus 2 is good, but I'm going to write the second one as 2x squared minus 4x plus 1. If we start with standard form, it's easy to end in standard form. Okay, when I take a binomial times a trinomial, I need to, same thing as I did with 2 binomials, just make sure I multiply everything in one times everything in the other. So I'm going to start with my x and take it times 2x squared. So that's 2x cubed. Then I take my x times my negative 4x. That's going to be negative 4x squared. And then I take my x times 1. So that's plus x. So I have multiplied x times every term in my trinomial. So now I move on to 2. 2 times 2x squared is 4x squared. 2 times negative 4x is negative 8x. And 2 times 1 is 2. And now I can just combine my like terms and I'll have my answer in standard form. I have 2x cubed is the only cubed term, so 2x cubed I've got negative 4x squared and positive 4x squared, so those actually cancel. I've got x and negative 8x, so put those together, that's negative 7x. And then I have plus 2 hanging out at the end. So my final answer is 2x cubed minus 7x plus 2. All right, my last example for this section is two trinomials times each other. Remember, we have to distribute every term in one to every term in the other. Luckily, both these trinomials are already in standard form, so I'm just going to get to multiplying. I'm going to take x squared times negative 7x squared. It's negative 7x to the fourth. X squared times x is a positive x cubed, and x squared times 2 is 2x squared. Okay, now I'm going to distribute the 3x, and I'm actually going to write these terms under the terms I just had. I can align my like terms then. I'm going to take 3x times negative 7x squared. That would be negative 21x cubed. Then I'm going to take 3x times x. That's a positive 3x squared. And then I'm going to take 3x times 2. That's 6x. Moving on to my last number that I need to distribute, which is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 7x squared is a positive 28x squared. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times a positive 2 is negative 8. So I just did this one a little differently than the previous one. I aligned my like terms, so it just is easier to see them. I only have one term that is to the fourth power. That's negative 7x to the fourth. Then I have 1x cubed minus 21x cubed. That's negative 20x cubed. 2x squared plus 3x squared plus 28x squared. So 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 28 is 33x squared. 6x minus 4x is 2x, and then I have minus 8. That is multiplying two polynomials together. The last example is multiplying three binomials. So they're specifically binomials, but there are three of them. And you cannot multiply them all at one time. So my suggestion is to start with the first two and multiply those together first. We should know we're going to get a trinomial with that. So I'm going to take x times x, x squared, x times 4, 4x. Negative 1 times x, negative x. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. That is still multiplied times x plus 5. But I'm going to combine my two like terms in that product. So that would be x squared plus 3x minus 4. And now I can multiply it by x plus 5. So it's a trinomial times a binomial now. Distribute your x squared, x cubed, plus 5x squared. Distribute your 3x, 3x squared, plus 15x. Distribute your negative 4, negative 4x, minus 20. Add all your like terms. X cubed plus 8x squared plus 11x minus 20. Okay, our last one. M minus 2 times m minus 1 times m plus 3. So we start with our first two and distribute. So m times m squared, m times negative 1, negative m, negative 2 times m, negative 2m, and negative 2 times the negative 1 is a positive 2. Still being multiplied times m plus 3, but I'm going to combine my m terms here. M squared minus 3m plus 2 times m plus 3. I'm going to distribute my m squared times m cubed, m squared times 3, 3m squared. Distribute my negative 3m times m is negative 3m squared. Negative 3m times 3 is negative 9m. And finally, my 2 times m is 2m, and 2 times 3 is 6. So I can combine my like terms. I have m cubed. My 3m squared and negative 3m squared cancel, but then I have negative 9m plus 2m is negative 7m, and then plus 6. And that is your product of those. We will do our special product patterns tomorrow.